Leanne McAdoo with Infowars.com. I am here with Carol Swain, a very prominent voice in the movie Hillary's America, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt, and you brought such an amazing voice to this film. Talk to me a little bit about it, because my mind is still quite blown, but I know that yours was as well at that moment, you know, being a Democrat and then sort of learning a little bit about the sordid history of the Democrat Party. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, I've known the history of the Democratic Party a long time because my specialty is American politics. When I got the opportunity to appear in the film, I saw it as an opportunity to maybe reach a wider audience with the true history of the party. Now, I knew the history of the Democratic Party, but I stayed in the party up until the early 2000s, and then I moved to becoming an independent. And in 2009, I became a Republican. And I believe that the Democratic Party is not the party, it's clearly not the party that a lot of African Americans believe it is. And I'm hoping that this movie will reach a much wider audience and that they will begin to see, especially African Americans, that they don't have to stay in the Democratic Party and that there is a party that offers hope and a way out of the misery that so many people suffer.
And so you can offer some historical accuracy. I mean, what would you say is the key thing that you want to talk to these young people out there? I mean, we see right now with the Black Lives Matter movement, and these people are really activated, very politically active in their communities, but I feel as though they might be being kind of led in a certain way, but maybe they don't have the whole history. What would you say are some of the key points that they need to understand about what they're supporting?
Well, there's so much that they don't understand, and if they are college students, then they need to read about Marxism. Maybe they'll read about it and they'll like it, but they need to know that it's pure Marxism and they should go from learning about Marxism to studying the impact that it's had on the rest of the world. I think that a lot of African Americans are being deceived. They want a better life. They want a better world. They're being used. And if they truly believe that Black lives matter, they would be concerned about the abortion rate in the Black community. In cities like New York, more Black babies are being aborted than are being born. If they truly cared about Black lives, they really would be concerned about the high Black-on-Black murder rate.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I mean, we've talked about this a lot at InfoWars, but one of the things that I thought was just really spelled out very well in this film was the KKK being the military arm of the Democratic Party. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, and to how they could overnight switch from lynching people to then all of a sudden being your savior. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, the thing about it, people would say, well, the KKK, that was a long time ago, and I would agree that that was a long time ago, but I believe that many of the programs that the Democratic Party pushes enslaves Blacks, and when they bring in more and more immigrants, that decreases opportunities for low-wage, low-skilled Americans of all races. So the policies of the Democratic Party are not policies that are going to enable many poor people to overcome their plight. I believe in the American dream. It's been a reality for me. I believe it can be a reality for millions of other people. And if young people want to change America, then I think that they need to equip themselves with some historical knowledge. I also believe that a part of the problem for many Americans, and again, I'm going to keep going back to Black people because I'm Black, is that we put our faith in government now. There was a time when we put our faith in God, but now it's government, and that's a mistake.
And one last question. So what we're hearing a lot now, and I don't know if this is coming out of the schools or whatever, but I hear a lot of young Black people, minorities, saying that the Constitution is not for them. And yes, of course, when it was written, it wasn't, you know, the world was not perfect. Talk to people a little bit about the Constitution. Who was it written for?
Well, the Constitution in many ways was written in a timeless manner. The framers knew that slavery was wrong. In fact, you don't find the word slave or slavery mentioned in the Constitution. Everyone knew that it would be eventually abolished. I think that when we look at our Constitution, we have to look at our freedoms. There's a reason why people are willing to risk their lives to come to America. freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of association, all of those things that we take for granted. Our Bill of Rights, that's something that we should cherish. No other country in the world has come up with anything better.
Carol, thank you so much. Everybody out there needs to go and see this movie. She is going to blow your mind with facts, and that's how we're going to win this war.
Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war. Pathogens added to the food and water, and to the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex.